She's number one at being dumb, the new face of the DNC. Gather round, cause that's our Jazzy.
Jasmine Crockett's got another hot take. No blacks and whites on a wedding cake. The Democrats' new chosen one, Jasmine Crockett, is in the news again for an old clip where she attacked Florida Rep Byron Donalds for marrying a white woman.
Greg Gutfeld just scorched Jasmine Crockett live on national television, and the result was nothing short of total devastation. With razor-sharp sarcasm and a relentless bite, Gutfeld shredded her performance piece by piece, ripping apart her show until she was left scrambling for words. This wasn't a debate. It was pure demolition. Crockett came prepared with rehearsed lines, but Gutfeld came armed with fire, and the clash was explosive. The audience didn't just sit back and watch. They erupted, while social media instantly caught fire, spinning into overdrive. If politics ever felt dull before, this moment proved it's anything but. Raw chaos dominated the screen, and Jasmine Crockett never saw it coming until it was far too late.
Or literally, it's because you married a white woman and so you think that that whitewashed you.
That's not very woke, is it? Of course, Crockett isn't the only Democrat who's opposed to interracial marriage, or else more Democrats would have voted for this one. Racist!
Greg Gutfeld doesn't just argue, he obliterates, turning calm conversations into scorched earth showdowns. Casual chats aren't his style. Instead, he slices through nonsense like a political buzzsaw, fueled by sarcasm and caffeine that hits harder than any scripted talking point. So when Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett strutted into the spotlight with her trademark flair for drama and her appetite for headline-chasing quips, a collision wasn't just likely, it was guaranteed. And when that collision came, it landed with crushing force that shook the stage. The very instant Crockett tried to puff up her feathers and transform House theatrics into a flashy public spectacle, she walked straight into her own downfall. Her biggest mistake? Believing Gutfeld would treat her with the same soft touch the mainstream media usually grants, when in reality he came with no mercy and no filter.
Plantation.
Tyrus, I go to you for no particular reason. Is she making any point there?
Like this makes me wish my mom made different father choices. Because we all get sucked into this. Like, this is... If you're going to talk about black history, at least know it. This is... At least know it, okay?
And if you're enjoying this fiery breakdown, make sure to hit that subscribe button right now. It only gets wilder from here. Instead of playing it smart, Crockett marched straight into the lion's den, unprepared, overconfident, and completely outmatched. She has never been known for delivering real substance. She thrives more as a performer dressed up as a politician, skilled at shouting opponents down, tossing out flashy buzzwords, and staging TikTok-ready tantrums. Her career so far has been built on fiery tirades, viral comebacks, and treating every microphone like it's her personal stage to audition for applause. To her loyal fans, that's somehow framed as fighting for justice. But to everyone else watching, it's nothing more than hollow noise wrapped in self-promotion.
But it goes back to, that was 45 seconds of some of the, like, Kamala, you good right now. That was some of the dumbest I ever heard in my life. Here's the thing. This goes back to what we talked about earlier. They never have a solution. Just listen to your dumbass talk. You want to talk about agriculture? Why don't you fix the lottery? Why don't you make it easier for people who want to come into this country to work in agriculture and equitation and factories? Get rid of the lottery. Open it up. Talk to the president. Like, hey, we got a plan. We want to make it easier for people who can vet and come in and work in this country. Come up with an idea besides, any of y'all want to pick cotton? We're like, we're in suits in the middle of the Midwest. Why would we pick cotton? It's like the extreme stupidness of what she speaks. I'm so angry right now.
But Gutfeld doesn't deal in hollow noise. He slices straight through it with sniper-sharp sarcasm and that sly grin that practically warns, I know exactly where this is going, and you're not going to like it. So when Crockett launched into her latest over-the-top spectacle, a cocktail of race-baiting, deflection, and predictable partisan drama, He didn't step up to spar. He stepped up to roast, and roast he did. With each line, he painted the picture everyone else secretly had in their minds but never dared to say out loud. Crockett wasn't standing there as a serious leader. She was exposed as a walking viral clip, desperately clinging to attention with nothing more than loud theatrics and performative outrage.
She's so rotten, she wants migrants picking cotton. We present to you Democratic Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, who made this shocking argument why America needs immigrants. Roll it, Alfred.
So I had to go around the country and educate people about what immigrants do for this country, or the fact that we are a country of immigrants.
Right.
The fact is, ain't none of y'all trying to go and farm right now. Okay, so I'm lying. Raise your hands.
When the wheels fall off.
You're not. We done picking cotton. We are. You can't pay us enough to find a plantation.
She wasn't stepping up to ask real questions. She was delivering self-serving monologues. She wasn't defending solid ideas. She was chasing applause with cheap one-liners designed for clips and clicks. And in Gutfeld's world, that's the lowest form of political theater imaginable. His takedown wasn't deafening because it didn't need to be. Instead, it was sharp, methodical, and dripping with contempt. Gutfeld didn't shout, he simply held up a mirror. And what Crockett saw staring back was brutal. Empty rhetoric, glaring contradictions, and the flimsy logic propping up her entire political persona. This wasn't just some random clash. Crockett has built her brand on being the self-proclaimed queen of committee, theatrics. Every time the cameras roll, she cues up another meltdown filled with wild expressions, dramatic pauses, and buzzwords designed to keep cable news hooked. It's theater without substance, but this time, her one-woman act was stolen right out from under her. Gutfeld didn't just point out her antics, he dismantled them piece by piece, dragging every exaggerated hand wave, every fake outrage, and every scripted controversy into the light, blasting them apart with a mix of cutting satire and plain, unfiltered common sense.
Kilmeade, she's getting to be the face of that party.
I know, thanks to your show.
Yeah.
I don't know what's more popular, this or The View on Gutfeld. But a couple of things. Did you see, at first I thought she was doing it for comedic purposes, but you watch back, nobody had a response. They didn't know what the hell she was talking about. And she's like, oh, really? Farming? Yes, it's called eating, farming. America's got the best farmers in the world. There's glory in doing it. People do it, and the people don't do it by hand anymore. This isn't 1820. So I was just stunned by what she's saying. But the weird thing is, she probably left that room thinking she knocked it out of the park. And I don't think that anyone can stop her from being the face of the party, except Bernie Sanders, who's 111 years old, talking about oligarchs.
He ripped apart the absurdity of her outrage, exposing the contradictions baked into every one of her rants. One moment she preaches unity, and the very next she's accusing anyone who disagrees of plotting some grand conspiracy to silence her so-called brilliance. Gutfeld cut straight through the act and named it for what it was. A polished performance crafted to mask the uncomfortable truth that she's achieved almost nothing of real substance. And that's when things turned brutal. Gutfeld didn't just stop at mocking her theatrics. He went deeper, drilling into her record, or more precisely, the glaring lack of one. For all her fiery noise and boundless energy, Crockett's actual impact in Congress has been negligible. No landmark bills, no meaningful accomplishments, just endless viral clips and puffed-up interviews where she cycles through the same tired talking points at higher and higher volumes. Gutfeld stripped everything down to the core, making it crystal clear. Crockett isn't a leader, she's a brand. Nothing more than the political equivalent of a reality TV contestant who mistakes chaos for charisma. Sure, it may win her fan pages on Instagram and a few viral headlines, but it does absolutely nothing for the country.
Do you have an opinion on this? Or should I move on to somebody?
No, I just... It has to come from me.
Yes.
Okay? None of y'all are qualified. Not just for one thing, I'm mad at Charmaine the Guy because he should have kicked her out. See, the problem is that we are allowing our own culture to be openly racist and get away with it. Now, if a white person is offended by that, and they should be, they say something, it's like, it's not the same thing. But if you say that and another brother looks at you and goes, man, you wrong for that. And I don't want you on my show. Get the hell out. Because I'm telling you right now, if I was not on the show, which happens sometimes, and someone was sitting in his chair and he was complaining about black men this and black that, and they shouldn't be here, and you know what happens when a white woman marries a black guy, you would not have seen that guy in the next segment. He would have kicked his ass off, because you're not going to talk about somebody that I care about like that, or another person like that. That's the problem.
Crockett's defenders, of course, rushed in with predictable outrage. They cried identity politics, insisting every critique was rooted in bigotry, misogyny, or, wait for it, fear of her so-called power. But Gutfeld wasn't buying a word of it. He sliced through that noise with surgical clarity, reminding everyone that criticism isn't hate, it's accountability. And if she can't handle accountability, maybe politics isn't her stage at all. The public's reaction was absolutely savage. Social media exploded. Memes flew across the internet at lightning speed, with one showing Gutfeld towering over a cartoonish Crockett with the caption, "Sit down and learn something." Others looped the takedown as if it were a UFC knockout, complete with replay-worthy humiliation. But let's be clear, Crockett authored this disaster herself. No one provoked her. No one set her up. She strode confidently into the spotlight, microphone in hand, ready to play the star, and forgot one fatal truth. Greg Gutfeld doesn't spar, he scorches. While she tried to deflect, spin, and screech her way out of the mess, Gutfeld hammered her with facts, wit, and sarcasm sharp enough to slice through steel.
Yeah, all right, stop it! Although I must say you have great taste. Happy Wednesday, everyone. Oh, man. Okay.
It was like watching someone try to fight fire with glitter. Flashy, pointless, and hopelessly outmatched. Even her usual allies began slowly edging away, clearly realizing this was a catastrophe no one wanted to be associated with. Gutfeld wasn't just dismantling one bad soundbite. He was dismantling the entire spectacle-driven style of politics that Crockett embodies. He cast a glaring spotlight on this new breed of politicians who believe viral clips can somehow replace real governance, and he did it with humor so sharp it was impossible to ignore. Then came the knockout blow. After shredding her logic, mocking her theatrics, and exposing her hollow record, Gutfeld drove the point home with a brutal reminder of what true leadership actually looks like. It's not about shouting louder than your critics. It's not about staged outrage for clicks. And it's not about insulting opponents for headlines. It's about showing up, doing the work, and actually delivering change. Not memes, not hollow sound bites, not TikTok tantrums. Jasmine Crockett discovered the hard way that when you trade real action for cheap attention, someone like Greg Gutfeld will always be waiting, ready to torch your talking points, call your bluff, and serve it all back with a side of satire and pure humiliation.
Jesse, they called Musk a Nazi, and next thing you know, you got swastikas on cars. They called Trump Hitler and a Nazi and a fascist, and he got shot. So I don't really ever see that happening on the Republican side when we make fun of Democrats. It's also about the supporters. It's not just the leaders. It seems like Democrats are easily programmed to do bad things.
Yes, they are. They're very easily programmed, Greg.
I made you say that.
This wasn't just a takedown. It was a flashing warning sign come to life. Greg Gutfeld didn't merely shred Jasmine Crockett's act. He turned it into a brutal lesson for every politician addicted to the sugar rush of social media applause. For those who think volume equals effectiveness, or that TikTok tantrums count as policy wins, Gutfeld just scrawled across their entire playbook with a giant sarcastic marker. We see you, we're tired, and we're not impressed. Because here's the truth. This wasn't a back-and-forth exchange, and it wasn't even close to a debate. It was the intellectual equivalent of an ambush at a vegan potluck where Gutfeld showed up with a rack of ribs and a megaphone, blowing the roof off the room. Crockett tried desperately to whip up the crowd with her usual cocktail of outrage and buzzwords, but her argument leaked credibility faster than a sinking submarine. And this time, the audience wasn't fooled. There were no ovations, no sympathy, just the heavy silence of secondhand embarrassment. The kind you feel when someone attempts a dramatic stunt and ends up crashing flat on their face in front of millions.
First, they cursed, now they thirst for blood. Jasmine Crockett is upping her temper tantrums, now saying the only way Democrats can win elections is by throwing hands.
I think you punch. I think you're okay with you okay with punching. It's Ted Cruz. I mean, like, this dude has to be knocked over the head, like, hard, right?
Crockett scrambled to recover, flailing like a glitching Roomba, spinning out buzzwords like systemic oppression, voice of the people, and the classic, let me finish. But every phrase bounced right off the shield of Gutfeld's smug, unshaken grin. It was like watching someone try to douse a raging grease fire by simply yelling at it. Flashy, amusing, but absolutely ineffective. Meanwhile, Gutfeld looked like a man already thinking about lunch, so calm that his takedown felt almost surgical. Precise, steady, and devastating. His delivery was so composed it was almost comical, like he was reading from a customer service script. Thank you for your outrage. Please hold, while we transfer you to someone who cares. He wasn't just winning, he was cruising without a bead of sweat. You could practically imagine elevator music playing in his head while Crockett scrambled to salvage her dignity. And then there was the audience. Oh, they weren't just spectators, they were devouring the moment. Every sarcastic jab Gutfeld fired off landed like a confetti cannon in a room full of overinflated egos. Laughter erupted, heads swiveled, and Crockett's so-called stand of courage collapsed into a live demonstration of what happens when a loud candidate collides head-on with a cold, hard reality check.
Now, she claims that she wasn't talking about Abbott's wheelchair at all. Yet she's mentioned Abbott's wheels before. In 2022, she posted Beto's rolling around the state. Where's Abbott rolling to? And according to the Washington Free Beacon, Crockett also liked several Facebook comments referring to Abbott as Hot Wheels back in 2020.
Her supporters scrambled to patch the wreckage, firing off frantic tweets and churning out think pieces within minutes. Someone probably rushed an emotional Instagram caption about misogyny, only to realize no hashtag in the world could erase the scorch marks left behind. The damage was permanent. This wasn't a slip. It was a complete collapse. The Empress wasn't just exposed. She was live streaming her own downfall in real time. And Gutfeld? He had already walked off the battlefield, the calm look on his face saying it all. He knew he had won. This wasn't merely a spat. It was a cultural autopsy, a brutal dismantling not just of Jasmine Crockett, but of the entire brand of politicians who confuse clout for competence and tantrums for leadership. What made it sting even more was the calmness of it all. Gutfeld never once raised his voice. There were no table slams, no melodramatic shouts, just razor-edged mockery and fact after fact, delivered with the rhythm of a late-night comic and the patience of someone who's seen this circus play out 100 times before. He wasn't furious. He was bored. And that boredom cut deeper than any rage ever could. Crockett remained on stage, clutching the microphone, still waiting for applause that never came. It was politics turned karaoke, pouring her heart out to an empty room, only to realize the mic had never been on in the first place.
How long is she going to keep this thing that she wasn't talking about, the wheelchair?
Yeah. Come on, babe, you know you're full of and all that, Jasmine. I think what happened was AOC was like, you guys, I need to triangulate and be serious now because I'm going to be a senator. So someone has to be a talking attention whore. Who's it going to be? And Jasmine raised her hand and goes, excuse me, Congresswoman Cortez, I speak jive.
What it is, mama.
She threw everything she had into it, but it still fell flat. Because volume isn't vision, and hashtags will never be a governing plan. This wasn't left versus right anymore. It was substance versus spectacle, reality versus optics. Gutfeld didn't just dismantle a single politician. He ripped the curtain back on an entire wave infecting American politics. The rise of the viral lawmaker. These are the ones who treat Congress like an influencer house, who see the chamber as a stage and every bill as nothing more than a script begging for clicks. That's the real warning here. Politics is not a stage. It's not a reality show. And it's not a launch pad for clout chasing dressed up as activism. It's not a place for endless slogans without results. And it's certainly not a playground for politicians confusing noise with real value. And if you dare treat it that way, Greg Gutfeld will be waiting in the shadows, armed with a monologue sharp enough to torch your act and reframe your career as nothing more than a cautionary tale. And Jasmine Crockett? She found that out the hard way, live, in front of millions, with no escape and no applause to save her.